Okay, so moving on, these are examples of artworks done with different types of lines. So you can see here uh, curvy lines. I hope we have examples of those done by dots alone. I remember when I visited, there was an exhibit at the People's Park last year of a local artist, but I was amazed with how he was able to draw different indigenous peoples, particularly the old people. They have drawn their faces very accurately. But what really impresses me most is when I look closer on how it's done. Those were just made of lines. Some are even made of dots. So, very creative. Okay, so next we talked about color. Okay, so color here is the property possessed by an object of producing different sensations in the eyes as a result of the way the object reflects or emits light. So this is one example of um, color wheel. Okay, next we have color has three properties. So we have the hue. This is the name of the colors. Let's remember the song of Francis M. Every color, every hue. This reminds. What's the next line? I forgot. I'm not good with singing. But the U there is HUE. Okay, next we have the value. Value refers to the lightness or the darkness of the hue. So you try adjusting your camera, for example. You have your photos there, and there's something there that talks about value. Play with it. Experiment. What happens if you add, increase the value or you decrease it? So what effect does it have on the picture? Okay, next we have the intensity. Okay, so when you say intensity, it refers to the purity of the hue, or we can call it the chroma. So we also have what we call the neutral colors. So these neutral colors are made by adding a complementary color. So opposite on the color wheel to a hue. So when you say complementary colors, these are the opposite of a particular color on that wheel. For example, we have the red here. So what's the complementary color of red? It's just directly opposite it. It's the green. For blue, we have the orange. For yellow, we have the violet. Just imagine yourself, you're wearing a violet t-shirt with a yellow print on it. So the yellow print would be very visible because it's highlighted because of the complementary colors used. So when this color is added with a little violet, then that's what happens. It becomes neutral colors. It neutralizes the color. So look at the example here. There. So these are effects of colors being neutralized by each other. And when we say neutral colors, it looks like earth or looks like dirt. Okay, the warm and the cold colors. So colors and the color wheel is divided or categorized into two. So we have it's not actually cold, it's cool. Cool colors. We begin with the violet, blue violet, the blue green, and yellow green. So on the other hand, we have the warm colors, red violet, red orange, orange, yellow orange, and the yellow. So why are they called like that? It's easy to remember actually. So for example, here we have warm colors that reminds you of red, yellow, orange, which evoke warmth because they remind us of things like the fire or the sun in itself, the desert, so it's really hot. Then we have the cool colors such as the blue, reminds you of the sea, the ocean, the green, like the forests, purple, violet. They evoke a cool feeling because they remind us of things like water or even grass or night dark colors. Okay, so when you say value, it's the lightness or the darkness of a color. So here it's a bit dark, this one it's a bit light, or the other way around. So for example here, the value scale from dark to light. So the artists use that to create shading applied to objects. So it creates an illusion of a three-dimensional illusion on a 2D, two-dimensional work. And they can also use contrast to show the unlikeness of the two items. Okay, then we have the tint. If you add white to a particular hue, like the red color, if you add a little white to that, then it becomes lighter. So that's why it's called a tint. When you go to the hardware, in the paint section, they have these small cans they call the tinting colors. So what's the purpose of that? Tinting colors are used to be added to, for example, a white 1-gallon paint. You just add a small pint of tinting colors, or not even the whole of it are used. It creates lightness. For example, a green tinting color, if you add that to a white paint, the more you add, the more it becomes mint green. So if you add a red tinting color to a white paint, what's the result? Creates something like this. This is too dark. It becomes pink, a bit pinkish, like this one. Okay, moving on. So if you add a black to darken a particular hue, so we call it a shade. And so like this one, a red, you add a little black to it, so that becomes like a maroon. Then later on, this one, I don't know how do you call that. It's a really dark, almost similar to black already, but not totally black. So if you add the gray to a pure color or pure hue, like this one, you add gray to it, so it creates a lighter compared to adding a shade of black. So it's really fun if you have different sets of paint and you mix them and you create different types of colors. So gray is a combination of white and black. So when you add it to a particular color, it creates something. So again, what do we add with the tint? We add white. What do we add with the shade? We add black. What do we add with the tone? We add gray. Okay, remember that. Now moving on with shape. A shape is flat enclosed area of an artwork created through lines, textures, colors, or an area enclosed by other shapes. For example, triangles, circles, and square. So shapes can be geometric or organic. But remember, shapes are just two-dimensional. Okay, so what's the difference between geometric shapes and organic shapes? So let's say geometric shapes. So look at this. Can you read the text? You know why we are having difficulty? It's because of the color combinations of the background and the text. So always remember this: when you make a PowerPoint presentation, you have to make sure that the background and the text are complementary. So that means they should be on the opposite side of the color wheel, or else it would appear like this, and you would have audience will have a hard time reading your slide. Okay, so what's written here is geometric shapes such as square, triangles, rectangles, rhombus, circle, cones have perfect uniform measurements, and they don't often appear in nature. So those were geometric shapes. Look at this one, full of squares. On the other hand, when you say organic shapes, these are associated with things from the natural world, like the plants and the animals. There, so it doesn't follow a particular pattern. So another example here of an organic shape and the geometric shape. Okay, form can refer to a three-dimensional composition. Remember, shapes have 2 dimensions. Form has 3 dimensions. Okay, a form can refer to a three-dimensional composition. So a three-dimensional object or something in a two-dimensional artwork that appears to be three-dimensional. Look at this one. These are just two-dimensional because they were just drawings. But because they played with shadows and light, it created an illusion of being a three-dimensional object. So we have here cones, cylinder, sphere, and cubes. So sometimes it can really trick the eye, those who are well done arts. So this is a three-dimensional form. So look at that, because of the lights. Okay, next we have the space. Space is the distance between, around, above, below, or even within things. So those were parts. Those were called space. This is particularly applicable in architectural works. So even what's inside. For example, have you even wondered about what's inside a pyramid? Is it really a big hollow inside, or is there a room there that's what they say is a tomb of the pharaoh, or is it used to produce some kind of an energy that will power up alien spaceships? Okay, so that's the thing about shapes. So what's inside the house? It's not just how the house looks from the outside, but what's inside the house matter most to the owners. So the size of the kitchen, the rooms, the ventilation is part of the overall package that is thought about by architects. Okay, so that also includes the foreground. Let's say foreground, what's in front, the middle ground, and the background at the back. Of course. So space here are, yeah, this one is positive, this one is negative. So negative space. Okay, so texture is the surface quality or the feel of an object, its smoothness, roughness, or softness. So texture may be actual or implied. So for example, here we talk about a glass of water, it feels smooth. Apple. Then on the other hand, we talk about rugs or bark of a tree, it reminds you of its rough texture. Then we talk about bricks, it's hard compared to the cotton or the blanket or the pillow, which is soft. The woven, the bumpy, the jagged or irregular, or the ridged. So there are different types of textures. So for example here, it's just a painting. When you touch it, it actually feels smooth. But because of the style of the painter, it creates a very rough texture. When you talk about actual texture, is a texture that you can actually feel with your sense of touch. You know, we have paintings like that when you touch it, it really feels rough, like the waves of an ocean. And these are other items that suggests certain kind of texture and you feel them. Okay, so we have examples here of different artworks. What do you notice? Applying the different elements of art. Here you can find the contrasting colors used. Do you see anything complementary in that sense? What are the warm colors here? What are the cool colors? What kind of lines were used in this type of work? So, and the use of the color combinations. So, it educates you on what to look for or how to appreciate a work of art if you know these things. So you have to really memorize them by heart because it will make you more competent. It will open a wide world, a different world of art on your eye. So we have another example here. If you're not into artworks, you might possibly mistake this as the work of an elementary grade 1 pupil. Like, what's difficult in this? But it's one of the most famous paintings in the world by Vincent van Gogh. What's the title? Starry, Starry Night. And there is even a song about the author. Do you think it made the painter very rich because of this painting? Actually, he did not earn a single cent in his works, but these works became valuable, even worth millions after he died. So life is unfair. So different shapes as well, but you notice the use of colors. It's not too colorful as compared to the previous ones that we have. So that's monochromatic. Just contrasting colors. So look at these colors, color combinations as well. This one, you might mistakenly think that there is actually a hollow point in the table, but it's not. It's just a drawing a two-dimensional drawing but creates a three-dimensional illusion using the use of shades and light. Okay, so you study all of these things for this week, and by next week or Monday perhaps, we will try to have a quiz based on these things. It would look like this. Identify what is being asked. That's an example. So what kind of line is that? Okay, so I'm excited about this subject, but I cannot say I mastered all of this. It's not my line of expertise, but I'm telling you, it's one of my favorite topics. So I'm really excited to learn new things as well and be able to work with you on our future projects. So good night, and hope you will continue to aim for the skills and develop your higher order thinking skills using art, creativity, analysis, evaluation, synthesis. Go for those types of higher order thinking skills, and I guarantee you will go places. So good night, see you again tomorrow.